everyone. So let's talk about some traveling with amigas. Who wants to do that? I want to do that. Today, introducing founder of Amigas on Tour, Miss Mariza Elizarraraz. Welcome.
Thank you.
Practicing her last name a few times before this. Welcome, friend.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, I've been so excited to have you here because you basically have created a company, which is what everyone's goals are, traveling with your friends around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but before we even jump into that, 3 adjectives to describe yourself, please.
Yes. So, adventurous, reliable, and resilient.
Okay, beautiful. So you're a founder of this beautiful company, but where did you start? Where are you from?
Yeah. So I was born here in LA, but grew up in Fresno, California. So about 4 hours north of here.
Okay.
Moved back to Southern California for work. So I am a corporate dropout turned entrepreneur. HR is my background.
Ooh.
So I did HR for over a decade.
Okay, and then growing up, was education a big deal in your family?
Yes. Education was a big deal in my family. I was the first to graduate with a bachelor's degree. I am one of 5 sisters.
Whoa.
So a busy household, always loud. And
Where are you in the order?
yeah, I'm second to the youngest and
Okay.
act like the oldest.
Really?
Yeah. So, but yeah, my parents instilled education on us, but also gave us the freedom to explore other options. And leaving corporate wasn't easy, but it was something that I knew my parents were going to have my back and my family.
Yeah.
So yeah, I left over a year and a half ago.
Jesus. So where'd you go to school?
I went to Fresno State. So I was in Fresno State, got my bachelor's in business administration and emphasis in marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just kind of fell into human resources with my first internship at Kraft.
Kraft, like the food?
Kraft Foods, yeah.
Okay. And how long did you do that?
Yeah, so at Kraft, I was there for about 2 years and a half. Then I jumped over to Pepsi and I did HR at Pepsi for 2 years.
Wow.
And then I went to Amazon and I was at Amazon for 6 years. I know.
We all know these names. Wow.
Yeah, so.
Was that easy? Because you're like, oh, I just did this and I jumped around. Was it an easy journey?
So thankfully, I was part of it's called HBSA. So it's a Hispanic Business Student Association when I was at Fresno State. And through that program, I was able to get into an opportunity for the internship at Kraft. And after being at Kraft, I actually got an opportunity to go and work for Amazon, for Pepsi through LinkedIn. So the power of networking and social media, we went through a downsizing at Kraft, was let go, and 2 weeks later, I doubled my salary and went to Pepsi.
You see, when one door closes.
Yes, 100%.
Jesus. Okay, and then so you've been corporate, HR, human resources background. Was this a COVID opportunity that happened to you? Or tell me, how did you go from HR to Amigas on Tour? And by the way, look at her merch. I am a fan of some merch, right? Okay, you can get that from her. Tell me, where did this idea come from?
Yeah, so I started Amigas on Tour in April of 2023. Mm-hmm. So I had already moved to Southern California, and I had signed up. I had been traveling for over a decade.
Just for fun?
Yeah, just for fun. Through my, with my PTO and my vacation or whatever allowed me to, I was traveling. But as the years went by, it became harder for me to convince my sisters to travel with me. One of them travels with me all the time, but it just became harder to convince people to travel with me.
Why?
Because of time off and because, people started getting married, they started having kids. I'm not married or have kids. I'm a dog mom.
Okay, that's a mom.
And so it just got hard for me to convince people to travel with me. And I didn't necessarily want to travel alone. I have traveled alone, but I like the company of at least one person, someone to talk to share,
Sure.
How do you like your food? Take this picture for me. And I did go on a group trip. And I also noticed that if I wouldn't have convinced my sister and my niece to go with me, it was in Egypt, I would have been the only Latina amongst a group of 20 plus women. So that also gave me the idea that, hey, there's a reason why we're not traveling. And again, asking friends, why aren't they traveling? Aside from them, getting married, having kids, the other thing, safety, and they didn't have anyone to travel with. They don't know where to start. So that's where it started. And I started connecting with local guides around the world.
I was going to say, so you get the idea. You're like, this is interesting. I love traveling. I want to travel with friends or people that I could feel safe with or whatever. How did that translate to let me form a company?
Yeah. So during that time, I was also going through, every 2 years, I go through a shift in my professional life. Like, I want to do something new. I want a new career position opportunity. And it was hitting that 2 years. So I kind of was just in that limbo. I'm like, hey, am I going to stay here? What else do I want to do? Have I gotten to the position that I wanted to at Amazon? Which was where I was. And I decided to do this. I kind of explored it for the first 6 months. I was doing Amazon and Amigas on tour full time. And I got to the point where I'm like, hey, I got to decide, am I going to continue Amigas on tour? Because I'm running out of vacation time. So the first couple of trips, I had enough vacation time to cover. But after that, like, I was, selling group trips after group trips. And I'm like, I have to decide, am I going to let it go?
Wow.
Or am I going to let my corporate career go? And I decided to stay with Amigas on tour.
And that's scary to let go of stability.
Very scary.
Like a paycheck. That's stability, that's security, to walk away from that. Because it's one situation where you're like not working somewhere and you're forced into it. Like you have nothing to lose, right?
Right.
But when you have stability, and I know that's why a lot of women don't make moves, because it's comfortable, it's safe, don't rock the boat. The timing's not right. And I'm sure that maybe crossed your mind. Well, the timing's not right. But as you learned, there is no right timing.
Correct.
Ever. And the longer you wait, you're just letting the dream slip past you. So what was it that finally you took the deep breath and you're like, okay, I'm walking away from Amazon with a secure job?
Yeah. So it was really scary. It took me, that 6 months. And even then, prior to that, I was already thinking about potentially what my next step was going to be. And it's very scary to walk away from a 401k and from your medical insurance and from a, 6-figure tech, role. But really, the support from my community, right? My community, and the support from my family and support from my boyfriend. He is also an entrepreneur. So
he gets it.
He gets it. And he was just like, do it. Like, look at your numbers. How do they look? Are you able to pay your rent? Are you able to pay yourself a living? And thankfully, I'm also able to obviously lean on him to do a lot of, just look at financials and have someone there to just give me that push and say, hey, you could do it. And yes, of course, I could tell myself I could do it and I could believe it, and my community, but it always helps to have someone next to you.
Absolutely. And that's the power of community, right? Yeah. This is what I talk about a lot. You are who you hang out with.
100%.
And I'm sure not everyone was like, this is a brilliant idea, but luckily your circle of people are that way. If people find that they aren't having the people around you that are your cheerleaders or like supporting you or working through like budgeting or just working through concepts, like if you can't have those conversations with people, maybe it's time to maybe not talk to them so much if you want to grow. A question on that. How much did you realistically budget? Like, not the number amount, but like how many months ahead? What realistically worked for you?
Right. So before I left Amazon, I knew that I had 19 months in reserve. If things didn't work out, I was able to fall back on that.
For 19
and
months.
I knew, 19 months. And I knew that my resume still looked good. So I still knew that my resume, my experiences, nobody was going to take away the experience that I had working in HR. So if I wanted to go back, I could. I still had connections. My network from previous roles were still there and supportive. So I felt comfortable like, hey, I'm going to take this step. And if it doesn't work out, our parents, right? Like, if it doesn't work out, I'm not going to live under a bridge. I'm still going to have money to feed myself. And I have the skills to do so. So, and I was worried because of the, being comfortable and having the stability, but it was at some point you get tired of being comfortable as well.
You're not growing if you're comfortable. Yeah. That's right. I just read something today. If you're comfortable, you're not happy. But when you're uncomfortable and you're actually leaning into growth, you're actually feeling happy because, and it's weird, you're not safe, you're not fearless, but you're like, I'm doing it. Fucking doing it. I don't know which way I'm going, but I'm doing it, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so where was the first trip you ever took, and how did you decide that was the first official trip for the company?
Yeah, for Amigas on Tour. Yeah, so the first trip I launched was Egypt. And Egypt was because I just had gotten back from Egypt.
Okay.
But the first trip that we actually went on was Peru. We went to Peru in September of 2023. And that was a smaller group because it was my first one. I wanted to test it, see how it was going to go, what support I was going to provide to the amigas that came on these trips with us. And yeah, at the first year we did 4 group trips. Second year we did 10. And then this year we have 28.
Trips?
So, yeah.
In 1 year?
In 1 year, yeah. And granted, I don't host all of these trips because I'm one person.
I was going to say.
And I have, I have a
your
home
passport
here
must be
and my passport.
incredible.
I actually need to renew it
Yeah.
because I'm running out of pages, and that's obviously a good problem to have. But
so good. Goals.
I do have amigas who are hosts and that help me lead these group trips as well.
Because they're seasoned travelers.
Yeah, they're seasoned travelers. They've been on trips with me. They know how I lead these trips, how I manage on the back end.
And that's great because you're still delivering the concept, a group of women that you can trust in your network.
Yes.
Okay. 28. Jesus. This is brilliant. I love this idea. So then if someone listening who's never heard of you but loves to travel, wants to travel, doesn't have the community or people that are available, what are like the top 3 reasons why they should consider this group?
Yeah. So definitely community, ease, and safety. So ease, because the community, obviously, the community just speaks volumes. The ease, because we will plan absolutely everything. From the only thing that our amigas have to book is their international flight,
right?
Because we have amigas from all over the nation. I think right now we have like 24 states covered.
Yeah, it's too difficult.
And it's too difficult to do that. It doesn't make no sense to have someone fly from Texas to LAX and then leave together. And that makes no sense. So all the amigas have to do is book their international flight and meet us in Cairo, say for example, right? Once you hit down in Cairo, there's going to be an airport representative waiting for a sign. There's going to be a driver ready to take you to the hotel. Your hotel is going to be ready to go. All accommodations, meals, activities, all of that is planned for. And we have trusted local guides and drivers who take great care of us. And obviously, the safety is because you're traveling with other women. Yes. Although it is solo traveling because you're arriving as strangers, right? You're coming as strangers, but you're leaving as amigas.
The best.
And it's, the connections that have been built. Yes. I have best friends now all over the country. So
it's really special to create that experience. So then how do you, let's back up, like to build the company. You've not been everywhere in the world. How do you find connections anywhere? How do you grow and know what's a trusted vendor, know what's a trusted driver? No, because that being a woman thinking about traveling anywhere in the world, obviously security is number one, but like, how do you trust?
Right. Yeah. So I actually go out and do scouting trips. So either if it's by myself, I went to Guatemala and I did a scouting trip there with one of my really great local guides. Her name is Farah. She's great. And but if I don't go alone, I'll have like 1 or 2 other amigas come with me. We'll do scouting trips. And then also I go off of some recommendations and word of mouth from other women that are in the same industry. Wow. So I'll connect with other women. I'll ask if, hey, does anybody have a connection here? Yes. Okay, let me go trial them. Let me go scout it out, look at the location. I take advantage of that time also so that I could take notes, I'll take content, and then that's how when I come back, I market those trips.
Fantastic. Yeah. And then the industry, right? Because there's an entire travel subworld that like most of us who aren't in travel don't even know about or think about. Like the trade shows are a big deal, right?
Yeah, so I've been to a few trade shows. I think the last one I went to was here in LA at the convention center, and that's another opportunity for me to connect. I connected with a few vendors or like local guides for Japan, for Thailand, and for a safari. Oh. And we actually went to our first safari last year in October, and we're going back this summer. So,
stop!
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's just talk about the trips for this year. Where, I know you're not doing all of them, but where are the ones you're doing?
Yeah, so the ones that I'm doing, I actually leave to Morocco on Monday.
So
we're going to Morocco.
I love Morocco.
2 of our groups are going to Bali this next week, and then we're finishing off in Puerto Rico. And then I don't leave again until Tanzania. We're going to our safari. and then Japan.
This is just for life. And you
Colombia.
you monetize this. You get paid for this.
Yes.
You see, dreams do come true. Yeah. You have monetized. You've made a way to monetize the dream life, as you should. This is phenomenal. And the work and research and everything that goes into it. I know it's not easy because we host, not like the way you do it, but the Empowered brand. We host retreats around the world, like travel stuff. Girl, I've done 3 of them.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
It's a full-time job. Absolutely.
100%.
And it's a pleasure to do it because to create that experience and really to travel with that kind of, it's just a very unique, special time and space.
A lot of the women that have traveled with us have either never used their passport outside of outside of going to Mexico or like the motherland, wherever the motherland is, or they've never had a passport and they're barely getting their passport at like, mid 30s, 40s. And I absolutely love to see how like they go through the process of booking their first flight, go through the process of landing and like everything they get to see. So that is what fills my cup when I do this.
Oh my gosh. And I don't know. And I know you travel a lot, and I do too. Every time it gets me, like coming off the airplane in a new country, even in the airport, it's just like, bam. It's like, whoa, there's another world out there.
Yes.
That has nothing to do with my little teeny bubble of life.
Right.
Like, stuff is happening and it's just another alternate like universe.
I can like the travel and how that makes you feel, and when you come back, the amount of appreciation you have for what we do have here, it's out of this world.
Absolutely. So politics be what they are here, the appreciation I have for what we have and the access and resource that we have as American citizens, it's just undeniable, of course. Let me see. Okay, so what do people have to do if someone's interested in signing up? How does it work?
Right. So how does it work is I create interest lists. So if you go onto my website, amigasontour.com, you'll see like a link that says see all trips or shop all trips, and you'll see a list of trips. Again, 2025 is all sold out. I'm working now on 2026, and I do create interest lists so that if you're interested, say, in going to Japan next year in April, you'll submit, your name, your email, and then I will email out once I have a confirmed itinerary with pricings, hotels and everything. Then I will email out all the information, and then you'll have the opportunity to review the itinerary. Do you like it? Do you like where we're going, what we're doing, the days that we're going? And then you'll be able to secure a spot. I like to open up my group trips anywhere from 9 to about 10 months in advance to allow for payment plans.
So you
could secure a spot with a deposit of anywhere from like $400 to $700. It really depends what's the amount of the trip. And then from there, you'll have like set payment dates, and you'll know exactly what you're paying for. So
that's phenomenal.
Yeah. And then from there, I will keep in touch with you until myself and whoever the host is for that group will keep in touch through group chats, through emails. We do Zoom calls just so that amigas can meet virtually before they actually get to the location.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that must be so nice. And really, you're creating beyond just the experience of the travel, you're creating communities.
100%.
New communities of friends. And this is really what we were just talking about, like birds of a feather flock together. And so people that take that extra step have always wanted to do it and then actually make the moves to make it happen and then show up and land and they're there. Their universe has just expanded by so much. Their network, which we all know our network is our net worth. Their net worth has just shot all the way up.
Yes.
Aren't you scared of going by yourself? I'm sure you get that all the time.
All the time.
And what do you tell women that are thinking about it? They're listening to you right now and they're like, but I don't know anyone and I'm scared.
You're not the only one. Like all of the amigas at some point, I have a lot of return amigas now, a lot of return travelers, but at some point all of the amigas were scared and alone and they were coming alone, and now like they have all of these amigas that are in so many different states, and you're not alone. You're not the only one. We were all scared the first time, but we did it, and you can do it too.
I mean, of course you can do it.
Yeah.
Everyone's always saying, I want to take that trip. One day I'm going to take that trip. One day when the timing's... The time is now, ladies. I keep telling you. We keep telling you. Look, at she's created the company for you to do it. About how many women collectively go?
Yeah, so per trip, I like to keep it in like the 14 to 16. That's kind of like the sweet spot. It is a good group, and I found that that's the group where like I am still able to like know everybody's name. Everybody's able to learn everybody's name. We're able to connect with one another and learn something about, every amiga that joins us.
Yes.
I think the largest group that I have taken so far was to Oaxaca for Dia de los Muertos last year.
Beautiful.
There were 17 of us. And that was still like a perfect size. I think anything more would require 2 group hosts just to give enough attention. And that would just depend on the destination and, what kind of really good group rates we could get to ensure that we're still able to supply everything that, we need to supply for these group trips. But yeah, usually it's about 14 to 16.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm so excited. And I went to Morocco, by the way, so I know it. And I'm sure you're going to be in the Sahara Desert at some point while you're there. Yeah. And it's just, that's another magical land. Yes. So I'm so excited.
Yeah,
I can't wait to watch.
We leave on Monday. So.
Oh my God. How many people?
So this group trip, there's going to be 14 amigas and myself. So 15 of us. Yes.
How long?
We're going to be gone for 8 days. Yeah.
See, no big deal.
And all of our group trips are pretty much the itineraries. I like to travel to experience the culture and really just, kind of immerse myself. So, our group trips are very back to back with activities, museums, temples, wherever we're going, we're doing a lot. So I make sure that you get your money's worth when you are traveling with amigas on tour.
And if someone with you on the group doesn't necessarily want to partake, maybe they want a slower pace, they can do that too.
So it depends. So they can say like there's 2 or 3 things that are back to back and they're not feeling well. They want to just take some time to themselves. That's totally fine. Okay. Just let me know. We'll plan in advance. But ideally, because I provide the itinerary in advance, you'll know exactly what you're going to be paying for. But again, if you get sick and you can't go, for instance, a lot of the amigas, you have a little bit more time to acclimate to the altitude when we go to Peru. Sometimes they stay back for a lunch or they stay back from one activity, and that's totally fine.
Sure.
We're always going to come back to the hotel and leave again for the next activity. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm super proud of you for doing this because I know it was risky and it still is like it's a new business but you're doing it. And I'm so happy to support what you're doing because this is what it's about. And you are a perfect example of how you had a dream, you had a vision, you had no one to copy because I don't know anyone who's done this, and you're doing it and you're paving the way. And so for people listening, what would you tell them when they are facing that moment of like, I'm really freaking scared. I don't think this is right. But in your gut, you're just like, I know. You have that conflict. How do you walk yourself through that? Because as you grow this, that's going to be present, right?
Right.
How do you walk through that?
Yeah, so I've been through that a few times now. I find myself every few months kind of like walking myself through, and it's just, doing it scared. It's like there's this quote that I've read, and I can't remember who said it, but it was like, soy la valiente más miedosa, That's right. It's so true. Like, we're so brave, but I'm really scared.
That's it.
But we're gonna get it done. Like, we're capable. You're capable, and you have the knowledge, you have the skills. So surround yourself with the women your community that will support you, because again, I have a lot of amigas now that are in business, and we could talk about, hey, who's your accountant, who does your this, who does your that, and we could share those resources, and it just makes me feel better that, hey, I'm not alone. I know that there's other women in business who are going through this, and we're all scared, but we're all doing it anyways.
We're all doing it, and you can talk to each other about it.
Yes, yeah.
In Morocco.
Yeah.
Like, check.
Yeah.
Anyways, well, I would love to have you back maybe at the end of the year after we've gone through all 28 of these trips and learn more and just continue to support you, because truly I'm proud of you and I want more people to know about what you're doing and support your efforts. And travel is life. Studies show people that travel more live longer and are happier.
Yes, 100%.
And I'm basically a doctor, so you're welcome. But anyways, thank you for your time, my friend. I appreciate it. This is it. So we're going to post in the comment section how to find Mariza and check her out. Check out what's going on and book that flight. So thank you, friend.
We'll meet you at the airport.
Yay. Bye.